All right. Welcome folks. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight and joining us for all things saddle hunting with our friends over at Tethrd, joined by Taylor Chamberlain and Greg Godfrey, the man himself that came up with the whole Tethrd concept. So, yeah, looking forward to kind of introducing the basics of saddle hunting and then getting a little bit into like some gadgets and gadgets that are gonna make it a whole heck of a lot more comfortable, more efficient. Because you're talking to two folks that know it better than anybody. And then we'll dive into kind of some strategies and hunting tactics that saddle hunting really opens wide up for you. So before we get into it, a few things of housekeeping. So there is a chat down below as well as the Q&A. If you're saying, hey, I'm Bobby from Alabama, or talking about what you saw on yesterday's sit, throw that in the chat. If you have questions, we will have, 10 or 15 minutes at the end to answer some questions. So please throw those in the Q&A. I'll be kind of monitoring those as the class goes on here. And then, beyond that, your guys' cameras are off, your mics are off. So you guys are not going to disturb the class if you got kids yelling in the background or your wife yelling at you to get dinner ready. So we should be squared away, and I do believe Greg and Taylor and the Tethrd crew is feeling generous today to do some giveaways. Undetermined what they are. I'll let Taylor and Greg ad lib those as we go, but you're gonna have to be present in order to fill out the giveaway form. And that will close at midnight tonight. So we'll post that giveaway form towards the end. And then, myself or Jack, who's behind the scenes running the show here, will facilitate and get in touch with the winners tomorrow or Friday. So with that, Taylor, Greg, if you guys want to quick introduce yourselves and get into it and share some saddle knowledge here, fellas.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Jared, onX team, for letting us have a few minutes to talk about something we're really passionate about, we really believe in, and we're big fans, saddle hunting. We've been doing
You
it for
won't find bigger
you
fans.
won't find bigger fans. We've been doing it for a long time. Before it was cool, as we like to say, and we take a lot of pride in the fact that Taylor and I, and along with the whole founding father crew at Tethrd, we kind of helped pioneer this really ultra light and really mobile way of hunting. That at the end of the day, the whole point of saddle hunting, it's not the gear. It's not the ropes, it's not the material, it's about killing more deer. That's why we kind of got into this world. It's what we're really good at. It's why we purpose build our gear. It's all about killing deer, right, Taylor?
100%. Yeah. I mean, this, as Greg so eloquently likes to say, this is a tool in the tool chest to allow you to be where you need to be to kill deer and do it as effectively and efficiently as possible. So we're going to kind of run through, what a saddle is, how it works, why it matters, and then how to be as efficient as possible with some tips and tricks that we've learned along our many, many years of saddle hunting. So hopefully it's useful to you guys. Please use the chat function. We'll open it up to a Q&A afterwards. And like we often like to say, nobody outgives Tethrd. And so we are going to give away the farm right now. So
we'll make our CFO really mad at us.
We're going to get a lot of hate mail. Not allowed in the chat if you're watching there, Dorsey, but we're going to give away the farm. So get ready, guys.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate one point that Taylor made. It's a tool in the toolkit, right? So a golfer carries more than one club. When you're on the tee box, you take out your driver, and when you get to the putting green and it's time to sink that birdie putt, you don't use your driver, use a putter. So when a ladder stand makes sense, use a ladder stand, and when it makes sense to be on the ground and to ground and pound and spot and stalk, do that. And then when it makes sense to sit on a cut cornfield in a redneck blind, use that.
Definitely.
But when you need to be mobile and when you need to move around, and if you believe in principles like first sit, best sit, and when you believe that you only get one chance at a big giant buck who's not going to let you get away with a bunch of nonsense, a tool like a saddle is a great tool to help you be mobile. Get in there quiet, get in there stealthy without carrying a bunch of extra weight and a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of big metal stuff that makes a bunch of noise. And get in there really quietly and really efficiently, and you can use that tool to kill more deer, which again is the whole point of all the gear that we make, is to kill more deer. So I guess we'll just jump right into it, Jared, if you like. Can you see the slide here, Jared, or are you seeing our camera?
Oh, no, you guys are good. You guys are small and tiny in the top right corner, perfect for your faces for radio, and the PowerPoint's front and center. So yeah, let's rip through it.
Awesome. Well, we'll just jump right into it then. And the first thing that we'll talk about is why should you consider saddle hunting? Taylor, take the first couple of points and just talk about why people should consider saddle hunting.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the most important aspect of it is the mobility, right? And the fact that you are not limited to look for the perfect tree. You're not trying to hunt for a telephone pole in the woods that is as straight as possible.
Like if you had a climber.
Correct. Yeah. And when I first got into saddle hunting, what led me there was I would study maps and figure out where I needed to be. And then when I get there, I'd be looking around with my headlight in the woods, trying to find the right tree that I could use my climber on. And I would end up 40, 50 yards away from where I wanted to
From
be.
the X, from the onX, from the
off,
pin that you dropped.
I'd be off X.
Yeah, that's right.
And where do you see the deer every time? They're on the X, where they're coming through that saddle or that pinch point. And so what a saddle allows you to do is hunt where you want to hunt. Like there are plenty of times that I have been in trees that are wonky, that take a while to get up in, that have, no way that a lock on or a climber could get into. And the saddle allows you to be in that tree. From anything that's, this big around to as big as possible, you're able to climb it. So the versatility and mobility is a huge deal for me.
I couldn't agree more. And I wanna point this out without beating a dead horse. I'm from the South. I'm from the South. Well, Taylor is too. Taylor lives in Virginia. I grew up in Florida and in Georgia, where we hunt a lot of pine trees. And a climber is a great tool. If you've got a lot of big, tall yellow pines, I mean, it's a great tool. But I am fortunate enough to be able to hunt all over the country. And I hunt a lot. I've been to Kansas, and I've basically been to all the good whitetail states. And there's a lot of times where I would go into an area like Taylor just talked about, and the trees would be wonky, or it'd be a big cottonwood tree or something silly that you couldn't get into. And to me, that's where a saddle system really shines, because if you can safely climb the tree, like if you can get your rope and your arms around the tree, you can hunt it.
Yeah.
For the most part. So that's a major benefit, is the mobility and the lightweight. I also think one of the features of a saddle system that kind of gets overlooked is hiding behind the tree. If in traditional tree stand, I like to explain this in terms of a clock, right? If 12 o'clock is right in front of you, traditional tree stand puts you at 12 o'clock. It puts you on the same side of the tree as the deer, which, is it horrible? No. Like thousands and thousands and thousands of deer have been killed on the front side of the tree. Can you do it? Absolutely. Is it the best? Probably not. Like, I'd rather be behind the tree on the 6 o'clock side of the tree and be able to use that tree trunk as cover, use the branches as cover and concealment. So I think that's a big benefit too of saddle hunting, especially in like highly pressured areas, or if you're hunting public land where they're used to seeing people. I mean, I know deer in the South, they walk around looking up like this. And so to be able to hide behind the tree, I think it's a major benefit.
Totally agree.
I'm
Something that
Jared's got
sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I'm gonna ad lib this a little bit because you guys are covering a lot of stuff with like particular questions. So once in a while, I'm just gonna rapid fire a question. Taylor, you kind of talked about it, but smallest tree that you're comfortable in. Obviously, Taylor, your tree might be different than Greg's tree size, but I mean,
What are you saying, Jared?
you know what I'm saying, Greg. But I've hunted trees that 4-inch diameter one time in Iowa, where it was like the deer is coming out here. It was the only tree. Did I look like a mega squirrel if I moved and the whole tree moved? For sure, but I could get in the tree, and there was zero chance I was putting a tree stand in that tree.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I've hunted trees where I've gotten up into and they're maybe this big around, and I'm kind of questioning my sanity for being in that tree. But to your point, it's where I needed to be. So, I mean, I'm not telling anybody to tie into a toothpick or a branch or something, but the versatility around trees that you could get into that no other climbing system could put you in is where a saddle really shines.
I've got a picture, Jared, of from we launched Tethrd in 2018. So this maybe would have been like 2020. I can't remember exactly, but I've got a picture that somebody sent us where they took three like really, really tiny trees. They were all together and they put them together and they squeezed the trees together and they tethered into that and they hunted that. So
I did that. I did that 3 years ago in Kansas. There was a little um, evergreen tree that had little, 4 inch, 3 inch shoots coming out of it, ratcheted it together and tied into that like 5 feet off the ground and had deer walking under my platform.
And let me answer that, Jared, in a little bit different way too. Okay. Can you do that? Yes. Is it ideal? No. Is it going to be comfortable? No. So when we talk about what can you do in a saddle, yeah, you can hunt any tree that you can figure out a way to climb. That is true. Ideally, if I have a bunch of tree options, what I look for in a tree size is like a basketball size tree. For me, that's kind of like a little bit less than shoulder width apart. It breaks up my outline. That's kind of what I look for. If you go much bigger, then it can sometimes cause problems shooting all the way around the tree and you can lose some of those shot opportunities. And if you go really small, then sometimes I think you lose the benefit of being able to hide behind the tree, because if all it's covering is just your chest, like you're not really hidden. So in a perfect world, think like basketball size tree or like shoulder width or just slightly under or over shoulder width. So for you guys that are new to this or considering getting set up with your first saddle system and you're thinking about what trees you have in your area, on your lease, in your public land, in the back 40, on grandma's farm, whatever it is, like a perfect world is that kind of basketball size tree that breaks up your outline nicely.
Yeah, and not to harp on this too much, but to me, that versatility is such a comforting thing to have, because when I'm walking in blind to an area, if I don't know where exactly I'm going to sit, if I'm looking at hot sign, I don't want to be limited by the gear I'm carrying. The gear that I'm carrying is allowing me to hunt deeper and by how light it is, and the versatility is allowing me to hunt where I want. Like that's what I want in a system, is to provide me more opportunities for where and when I'm hunting, as opposed to limit where I can. And that's where a saddle, I think, is really, really beneficial.
Yeah.
Something else that you touched on, Greg, that I think is really important. Not only are you able to hide behind the tree, but the angle that you kind of are coming off at when you're reclining in a saddle tends to be a very natural angle that if you look up at a lot of branches, you see they kind of grow upward at like a 45-ish degree angle. Comfort is different for everyone, but I've had a lot of deer, more than I care to admit, where I'm like playing on my phone and they come out and they have completely silhouetted me and they just go, huh, that's like a big broken branch, and they walk off. Whereas if that same thing happened while you're in a tree stand, I used to get busted a lot more while playing Brick Breaker on my old Blackberries. So I think that that's a benefit that's often overlooked in saddle hunts.
I agree. So we'll pop through these last few little bullet points really quick and we'll jump through because I want to make sure we have plenty of time for questions, comments, so we can answer real questions that you guys have. So we'll kind of breeze through these first like 4 or 5 kind of slides and then we'll get over it. So as you've already seen, you've already read through this, you can hunt anywhere, public, private, doesn't matter, big woods, small woods. You can totally shoot 360 degrees around the tree. Whereas in a traditional tree stand, you just straight up can't shoot behind you. Now, you just can't. The tree's there. You can't shoot all the way. You can do it in a saddle. Can you always do it? No. Sometimes there's limbs in the way. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. But in a perfect scenario, you can shoot 360 degrees all the way around the tree. It's incredibly comfortable, and something that I love about saddle hunting that we hear all the time. We've gotten all kind of comments about it's about how safe it is. When you do it properly and you pay attention to your system and you know your gear, you are connected to the tree from the time you take the first step off the ground until you get all the way back down. You can truly be very, very safe. Now, does that mean it's absolutely foolproof and you couldn't make a mistake? No. But more than likely, if something does go really bad, you're probably just going to maybe get hurt probably not going to die. Whereas if you fall out of a tree stand and you're not using a harness, you're probably hosed. So,
And I'll jump in there. Like with a saddle, if you have the proper ropes, there's no excuse to not being safe. Like there is none. Like I mean, you are wearing your safety harness as your main way of hanging from the tree. It, hard stop saddle hunting is safer than hunting out of anything else, save for maybe a redneck.
I agree. I completely agree. And we've got stories after stories after stories after stories where people have contacted us and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your saddle saved my life. It's something broke. I was on a limb. It snapped. My tree step fell. It didn't. And it's just happened so many times that it truly is the safest way to hunt. Now, I don't want to just talk about all the good things. I want to talk about the bad things because there's no such thing as the perfect system. So what are the downsides of saddle hunting, Taylor? What are they?
Well, there's a little bit of a learning curve. Like it is hard to just jump into one and climb a tree and not have challenges. Like we tell everyone, we cannot stress this enough. We highly suggest that you set up a platform a couple inches off the ground, play with it in your backyard, shoot from it, put yourself in some challenging spots and get comfortable and used to it. And also, I mean, there's a learning curve to the comfort factor, right? It's comfortable, but it's not like that broken in lazy boy in your man cave yet. You need to sit in it. You need to get some time, and a little bit of adjustment with the ropes goes a long way.
I call it saddle shape.
Yeah.
Like it's the first time okay, I would challenge anyone here that is only a tree stand hunter. For that first sit of the season, you go sit 4 to 6 hours in your traditional hang on tree stand and tell me your back and your knees don't hurt. They absolutely do. It's the same with the saddle. Your September, or if your season comes in October, like a lot of the whitetail states east of the Mississippi, like those first few hunts, they're not going to be awesome. It's just the fact. You got to get used to it. You got to get used to being suspended in a tree. The pressure on your hips and your butt and it's different. Your knees can get a little tender. It's just normal. It's just I call it getting into saddle shape. Once you've gotten 4 or 5 hunts under you, you'll be good. But Taylor's right. There is a little bit of learning curve to the climbing and the rope management and the comfort. There's also a gear investment. Like it's not really all that cheap to get started. Now, what I like to say is buy once, cry once.
Yeah.
That's the thing about saddle hunting with Tethrd, with our brand, or really with any of the brands that are out there. They're all
Greg and Taylor, just to interject here real quick,
Yeah.
like go through some pricing structures on your guys' different saddles because I've seen no less than 20 questions that have the money sign in them. So like put some figures to these, whether they're buying, the carnivore versus, something more entry level.
Sure. Let me attack that. Let me attack that like this, right? So buy once, cry once. You are literally going to trust your life to this gear. You are hanging from ropes. You need to make sure that the company that you are supporting is doing it the right way, that they're carrying the right levels of insurance. If you do get hurt, like somebody's going to take care of you. You have to be very cautious about that with a tree stand, with a saddle system. It doesn't really matter. That's the same for everyone, but there is some investment up front. Now you can spend anywhere from a couple $100 if you bought it used on eBay or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And you can spend $1,200 if you go with the most ultralight and the 1 pound climbing sticks and the tiny little ropes and every single little creature comfort that you want. I mean, that's still like half the price of a Matthews bow. And you're going to, oh, by the way, use this on every single hunt and it's going to save your life if anything goes wrong. So is it expensive? I mean, maybe. I guess it depends on what you value. But yeah, there's definitely some gear investment up front. And on the low end, if you went all new, I'll just use Tethrd equipment, you could get into our workhorse gear for $400 or $500. If you don't need a climbing sticks, maybe you already have a way to climb the tree, or you use a ladder or screw in steps or something like that, you use a couple $100.
Correct.
So it's anywhere from a couple $100 all the way up to $1,000, depending on what you value. Like I tell people when we go to and do these trade shows all around the country, it's like, do you care more about your back or do you care more about your wallet? Well, if you care about your back, buy the heavier gear. Or excuse me, if you care about more about your back, buy the lightweight gear, buy the climbing sticks that are 1 pound and buy the really good stuff. But if you care more about your wallet, if that matters more to you and you're more budget minded, buy stuff that's a little bit heavier and you can save some cash.
Well, and
Greg and Taylor, quick give a breakdown. You know, Carnivore, I believe, is your guys' newest saddle, 2 panel, more comfort. Then you have your Workhorse, which is ballpark what, 200 $250 versus the Carnivore at 400 $450. Like, break down the differences in what people are getting for the premium versus the entry level.
Awesome. You want to take that?
Yeah, so our workhorse line is a value-driven line that's a turnkey kit. So the pockets are attached to it. It comes with the ropes. It comes with everything you need for a saddle, and you can grab a platform.
And
if you need
what's
it.
that saddle cost?
$300.
$300, and you get the saddle, the pockets, the ropes, the back band, the comfort accessories. Okay, and then what else do you need?
Correct. From there, you would need a platform. So
Okay.
where are you going to put your feet? The platform again is something you could use on every hunt along with the saddle, which is I think an important note to have is whether you're hanging a preset location or a run and gun spot, you're using the same gear. So this is your system. It's your safety harness. It's all in one. You're using it on every hunt, just like your bow.
And what's
Right.
that platform cost?
$170.
So for $450, you've got a whole kit.
Yep.
Brand new, out of the box, never been used, never maybe been dropped by somebody that's then selling it used. $450, you've got a brand new kit, and it's everything you need. It's probably not fair to include climbing sticks because people use so many different methods. So to your point, Jared, so $450, you can get in kind of on like the value engineered, which doesn't mean it's not good. It just means
No, it's phenomenal. I mean, as far as the value that you're getting there, it's not just a value of what you're buying, but
Yeah.
the feature set that you're getting has a lot of similarities to our carnivore line that is tip of the spear.
so you're probably going to sacrifice maybe a little bit of weight.
A little bit of
It
weight.
probably wouldn't be as light as like Jared mentioned, like the carnivore, and you're not going to get all the adjustability of like a 2 panel system like the carnivore, and you're not going to get the 8 mil ropes, which are a little smaller, a little lighter. You're going to get like 11 mil ropes. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just a little bigger, a little heavier. They work perfectly fine. But when you start to climb up in price, you start to get those creature comforts and those packing smaller, it's lighter, it's a little bit easier. So you're really just paying for more comfort and user friendliness as you climb up, but you're not sacrificing any ability to kill deer when you go with the more budget minded version.
You also get a little more modularity to it because the pockets are detachable. So you can pick your pockets, you can decide how you want to run that system and really fine tune what you are running, which is another benefit to saddles if we're talking through the modularity, because when you buy a tree stand or a climbing system, you're locked into that system. But when you have a saddle, you can tweak it and adjust it and figure out what pockets you want to run if you have that high-end modular set to really kind of tweak it to exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah, I agree. And let's talk about these last couple points just real quick so we can move through these and get to the Q&A section. Taylor brought this up earlier on the why you should saddle hunt. We always recommend that you practice from ground level, from different angles. Spend 20 minutes in your backyard practicing the different angles, and I promise you will feel like a pro. I promise you. I've helped literally hundreds and hundreds of saddle hunters do this. And if you'll just spend, a few sessions in the backyard shooting your bow from the ground in your saddle, you'll be a pro in no time. And then the last bullet you see there is the extreme cold weather can be tricky. It's important to bring up, like, not as much of an issue for me where I hunt typically in the South where, really hunt in negative temperatures or like 0 degrees. Not that big of a deal. But if you do hunt in an environment where it gets really cold, really extreme cold layering can be tricky because you're in a tree, you're tied in, it can't really move your saddle around. So if you got to add base layers, it can be difficult. So it's a fair concern if you live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, some of those northern states where you have really extreme weather and you hunt, past the rut into December, January, that it's something that you should consider for your system.
Hey, before you go on, we talked about the gear investment up front. Why don't we help a couple people out right
Oh,
now
yeah,
with
great
their
point.
investment? Let's give away some gear.
How you want to do that, Jared? Let's get some.
So I mean, we're gonna save the giveaways for the end because we'll be posting a like a giveaway sheet that folks will have to fill out. So
Okay.
Bob, Mike, and Sally aren't gonna win in real time here, but there will be real winners, and we'll get to your guys' giveaway laundry list. We'll let you lay it out, and then we'll post the link here towards the end of the class.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Well, we will give away a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Or it's not a lot of stuff, I should say. All right. Frequently asked questions. How do I stay comfortable? That is probably, bar none, the most frequently asked question I've gotten. And when I say I've talked to thousands of saddle hunters, I'm talking since 2018. I've gone to many, many, many events, and I've literally, Taylor and I have helped thousands of people answer these questions. That thing can't be comfortable. If I had $1 for every time I was doing an event and some old dude walked up with his hands crossed and went, "Man, that thing ain't comfortable. You can't sit in that thing. That's stupid." And then I say, "Well, why don't you try it?" And I get him in there and he gets it. And I say, "Okay, now go this way. Go that way. Now let's add the recliner. Let's add some back support. How do you feel?" And he usually he uncrosses his arms and he goes, "All right, well, I guess that's pretty comfortable." And I've just seen it over and over again, dozens and dozens of times. You can absolutely hunt all day long from daylight to dark. Will you get uncomfortable at times? Absolutely. Try to sit in a lock-on tree stand from daylight to dark and not get uncomfortable. It's impossible. When we were testing our Phantom saddle, I went to Montana on an elk hunt, and I climbed up into a tree on a wallow the first day of September. First time I'd ever tested this saddle out. First hunt of the season. And I sat from daylight to dark in a brand new prototype saddle, and I had no problem doing it. Did I get uncomfortable at times, and did I have to reposition my tether like that first bullet point says? Did I have to change some things? Did I have to make some adjustments? Did I have to shift my knees every now and again? Yeah, absolutely. But that's just normal. It's just stuff you have to do to hunt all day, because hunting all day is hard. So it's absolutely a comfortable system. I would put it up against, except maybe like a Summit Viper, like maybe like the really comfortable big climbers that feels like you're sitting. Maybe it's not that
I don't know.
comfortable.
I get pretty close to that comfortable, I think. What do you say to the people? You didn't put this on here, but how often have we heard at a trade show when somebody walks by and goes, "Oh, that ain't for me. That's for a young man. That's for a
Oh,
young fit man."
well, I would just say, have you heard of John Eberhard or Warren Womack? Those guys are both in their 70s. They're killers, and they hunt from a saddle, and they have been forever. And it's absolutely comfortable. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, it doesn't matter. You only have weight limits on these things. Like you can't be like a giant human being, but
I'm gonna pause right there and say, Jack, the man behind the scenes. Jack, you can chime in if I'm off here, but he's about 6'4", 265, college offensive line. All right, 285.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself. You're a saddle hunter, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've lost a little bit of weight, but I've climbed up weighing north of 300 pounds and 6'3", and it's been great.
we had this WWE wrestler named Braun Strowman. I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but he came up to us at one point and he was this giant human being. I'm like looking up at, he's like 6'8", and he was this huge guy. And he was a saddle hunter. So you can absolutely be comfortable if you're a bigger guy, smaller guy, girl, whatever it is, you can absolutely find comfort. I promise you, it just takes a little bit of effort.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right, in classic form, we're off on a bit of a tangent here. So Taylor, Greg, talk about tether height, bridge length. Like give them the tips on getting comfortable if they're trying to adjust some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so as a general rule of thumb for me, I like to run my tether right about forehead height. That generally will be where most people will find comfort. Now, comfort is subjective. For everybody that I tell put it here, I'll get a guy that says they like to put it a foot above their head or at, belly button height. But most of the time, right about forehead height is a perfect location for your tether. And then I like to run my Prusik knot right about middle between where that is tied in, and so like throat height. And once you sit in that, you can make minor adjustments for a little more tension or a little less tension, depending on where comfort is for you.
Yeah, we engineer maximum adjustability into all of our gear. And I don't want to get too technical because it can be hard to follow if you're not really familiar with the gear, but trust me, you can get comfortable in a saddle.
Yeah.
Yes, you. I promise you, with just a little bit of effort, you can get comfortable and you can hunt all day. Let's talk about shooting. So let me go back to that clock analogy. Okay. So imagine the tree is at 12 o'clock and you're at 6 o'clock. You're sitting at a shot, at 6 o'clock on the face of a clock. You can imagine if you're a right-hand shooter, all you have to do is take the bow off the tree and imagine right in front of the tree, all the way around, just like in a tree stand. It's fairly easy to shoot from, call it 12 o'clock, 10, 11, 10, 9, 8, all the way down to about 6 o'clock. Pretty easy to do. But you can imagine getting over on the right hand side of the clock, call it 3 o'clock to like 6 o'clock. That could be kind of difficult. That's a true
Weak side shot.
weak side shot. It can happen. Is it always easy to pull off? No, but you can absolutely shoot all the way around the tree. I have killed several deer in that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock position on a clock again. That's called the weak side shot. You can absolutely do it. It takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of training, but you can totally pull it off and get that full 360 degrees around the tree, provided there's not a limb in the way or a bush in the way or something like that.
Yeah, the ability to be tethered to the tree, no pun intended, where you can pivot using the tree affords a ton more shooting opportunities than if you were in a tree stand and you're worried about where you're putting your feet. You're literally able to put your knee in the tree and pivot around very easily, very slowly and smoothly to where any shot in a 360-degree area is easy.
Yeah, and let's pop down to number 3. Is it safe? We kind of already touched on that just a moment ago. Absolutely. When you do it properly, Jared chimed in here. When you do it properly, you're connected to the tree from the time you take your first step up all the way until you get all the way back down on the ground safely. And at the key points, so about 90% of tree stand accidents happen when you transition from your climbing method to your tree stand, or when you're done with the hunt and you're transitioning from your tree stand back to your climbing method. That's about when 90% of accidents happen. Well, with our system, you're actually double connected to the tree during those dangerous times. You've got your tether connected and you've got a secondary lineman belt rope connected to the tree when you do it properly. So the chances of getting hurt can be dramatically reduced when you follow the rules, you do it the right way, and you understand how your gear works. So is it safe? It's the safest way to hunt. Elevated. Like Jared, you said, maybe in a redneck blind, maybe that's a little bit safer. But if you're climbing a tree to hunt, saddle hunting with being double connected is the safest way to hunt. What about number 4, Taylor? Can you set up in the dark? You can't do that.
Yeah, the ease of setting up and having your system of just climbing with your sticks, it almost becomes a subconscious thing. It's so simple. Like once you've done it a couple times, you have your system. It's the easiest thing possible, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
It just takes a couple of repetitions to it and a little bit of practice, and there's nothing easier.
Absolutely. And I'll add here, I was active duty Army for about a decade, and I was stationed all over the country. And one of the training practices that we believed in and used in the Army was the little mantra that you don't train till you get it right. You train till you can't get it wrong. And we kind of take that ethos at Tethrd, and we believe in that. So as you use your system and you figure out your process and where your ropes go and where your accessories go and how to adjust your carabiner, you'll quickly get to the point to where not only you get it right, you really can't mess it up whenever you have your system down like Taylor talked about. So that's another vote or another point that we talk about practice and get used to your system.
And it's not as difficult as maybe we're making it sound right now. Every time you climb a tree, whether it's a preset spot or a spot that you're hanging hunting in, it's the same process. Whether the sticks are already on the tree or if you're hanging them, you're using the same system up and down. And so that repetition
Yeah.
is just it compounds quickly.
Yeah. That's a great point. All right, let's jump through this. I think I've got two more, and then we can open it up to Q&A and comments. So the essentials, Taylor, what are the bare minimum things that you have to have in order to start saddle hunting?
I have to have a saddle. I have to have my ropes. I need to have the platform of where am I going to put my feet. I need some way to get up the tree and then some place to store that stuff.
That's right.
So whether you already have climbing sticks or not, everybody on this call most likely has a set of climbing sticks. You know, you need the saddle, you need a platform so that you can kind of get into the system and then continue adding on what you find you need from there.
And there's all kind of accessories that Tethrd makes, that other brands make. You can find all sorts of 3D printed options for people, making it easier, more comfortable, more user friendly. There is a never ending array of products that you can buy if you want, or you can just buy these 4 or 5 things, keep it simple, get you a saddle, get you a platform, get your ropes, and you're good. You can absolutely kill deer with just a minimal setup.
And if you're a broke kid, or a broke adult, even for that matter, like the platform is optional if you're willing to suffer a little bit more. I have certainly been out there where I'm like, I don't want to carry my platform today, and I just use my top stick, or I take a couple, screw-in climbing sticks and put those in the tree. I would say saddle hunters are so creative that it almost makes it seem scarier or more daunting than it is. I don't know how many times people have asked about like the one stick method already in the chat here, which is like so beyond what I would ever even consider doing. But like saddle hunting made it like a thing, and like you could buy one stick if you wanted to, and you're set.
Absolutely. And you know, to hit on that just quickly, so the one stick method is basically a process in which you have one climbing stick, you strap it to the tree, you climb up on top of it, you hang in your saddle off to the side of the tree, you move that stick up, you climb back on, you go up, and you rinse and repeat that about 4 or 5 times, and now all of a sudden you're 20 feet high and you're ready to hunt. Some guys swear by it. I've done it. I've done it a whole bunch of times. Taylor's done it a whole bunch of times. I like it. It works. It's not what I choose to use on a regular basis, but some guys swear by it. So,
and I think this is one of the things that lends itself to be so cool about saddle hunting is you can choose how you want to saddle hunt. Whereas if I just had a really high-end lock-on and sticks, that's my system.
you're committed.
Yeah, I'm not able to really deviate that far from that. Whereas in a saddle, you're just getting your toes wet on how you want to utilize that tool to make it work the best for you. And I think that's where we see so many different people being creative and figuring out different ways that work for them, and then people try it. And that whole community of saddle hunters where everybody's helping everybody else is a really cool aspect of saddle hunting.
And to be totally clear, like the one stick method that is coming up in this chat over and over and over again, totally viable. You can 100% do it. Go on YouTube, go to the Tethrd YouTube channel. We even have videos about how to do it step by step. What gear do you need? How does it work? Is it safe? We answer all those questions, and there's a lot of other people that answer those questions too. So you don't just have to rely on these two idiots. You can look and get information from a lot of other ways, but the one stick method is absolutely a way to climb. It's a little bit outside of what I like to do. I like to use like 3 or 4 sticks with a set of aiders instead of a one stick climbing method, but there's no wrong way to do it. Let's jump to this. I think this is our last set of bullet points, and then we can move into the Q&A, which I'm pretty pumped about. So pro tips. How do you use onX, Taylor? This is interesting. So for those of you that don't know, Taylor's alter ego is the Urban Bowman. and he has like hundreds of trees prepped, ready to go at a moment's notice, where he lives here in Northern Virginia outside of DC. And these are small parcels. These are urban. These might be a quarter acre, or it might be 100-acre parcel. He has all kind of opportunities here where he lives. But how do you use onX to make it better?
Yeah, so I mean, I utilize onX to be able to remember all the spots that I have and trees that I have, and be able to know which one to go to based on the wind. I mean, I preset trees, so I go in and prep that tree, but I leave nothing there. I leave no trace that I'm hunting there, other than a little bright eye in the tree. And so that
So
helps
do you
me.
have any preset spots where you already have like sticks or a climbing method
I
or
have none.
route? Wow, okay.
And so for me, I used to have a bunch, but I found that when I left some spots in the woods, it would make me lazy. So I would hunt that spot instead of going to climb the tree that I knew I needed to climb.
So instead of
to hunt.
hunting where you needed to be, you hunted where it was
I
convenient.
hunted where it was easy to be.
Yeah, okay.
And so with a saddle, you know, and again, that was with a saddle, but I was climbing sticks that were already there. So by presetting my locations, prepping the tree, then marking it on the app, it allows me to just know where to go, and then there's nothing that can go wrong with that tree or that spot to weather in 1 year, 3 year, 5 years between when I prepped it and when it's time to go.
Yeah, and then we can burn through these last 3 bullet points because we've kind of already touched on them. Make sure you practice at ground level. Please, please, please do not buy a saddle kit from Tethrd or from any other brand and go out there on November the 1st, climb a tree in the dark, never having practiced it. Please do not do that. It's not smart. You're going to make all kind of noise. It's going to take you 45 minutes or an hour to climb the dang tree.
You're going to hate it.
You're going to hate it. Don't do that. So practice at the ground level where it's safe. You can learn your system, which also plugs into that last bullet point of shooting 360. We've already said it. Practice in your backyard or at your local your archery range or piece of public ground where you're allowed to hunt and practice. Practice there. Do it from the ground where it's safe. Learn your kit. It will make your hunt way better. And then that third bullet point, carry minimal gear. The whole point of saddle hunting, well, not the whole point, but one of the major benefits of saddle hunting is you can be ultra light and mobile. But if you start carrying all kind of crap that you don't need, you're just going to ruin the weight savings. So I'm a minimalist. Taylor's a bit of a minimalist, not as minimalist as me, but he's still a minimalist. Don't carry a whole bunch of crap that you don't need. Leave it at home, leave it in the truck, and you'll enjoy your hunt a little bit more. What else you got to add about pro tips, Taylor?
I will tell you, if you do not practice shooting 360 degrees before you go out in the woods, you are guaranteed to have a booner come in at the hardest spot to shoot if you haven't practiced, and it will ruin your life. So make sure you practice 360 before you go climb a tree and see old double drop time walk in.
All right, we're here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, Jared, so we can get bigger on the screen maybe. How's that work?
Oh, yep, there you go. You done did her. No, that was great. So yeah, let's rattle off a bunch of quick Q&As here. So one really common question that's been asked about a zillion different ways. What's your favorite type of tree to sit in? Like lean, a Y, and least favorite? I'll start first. I love a tree that just leans slightly in one direction, and I let the tree lean away from me, and I find that to be the ultimate for comfort. Like it allows my tether to be connected a little bit higher, and so I'm a little bit less at an angle hanging. And then the other thing, and this is how I do the weak side shot, maybe not the most safety recommended, but I just loosen my tether and I stand straight with my back to the tree. And like that is the most comfortable for me, is a tree slightly leaning away.
Nailed it. What about you, Taylor?
I love getting into a tree that has multiple trunks on it.
Yes.
So if I can climb up into the crotch of a tree, insert crotch joke here. I love having the multiple breakup of my large 260-pound chewed bubblegum frame of multiple trunks breaking that up.
Couldn't agree more. And I will agree with Jared. A little bit of lean either away from you or towards you is not the end of the world. A severe lean can be difficult. You can hunt it, but you're probably going to be uncomfortable. So slightly leaning away, slightly leaning towards, totally fine. If it's slightly leaning left or right, let me give you a pro tip. So whatever way the tree is leaning, you put your tether on the opposite side of that tree and it will counteract the lean. So if the lean is leaning towards the right, but that's the tree you have to be in, there's a scrape and a rub right there. That buck's been coming to your camera. You know he's going to show up at golden hour, 30 minutes right before legal shooting. You know he's coming in, and the only tree is leaning a little to the right. You can totally hunt that tree. Just climb it, set your tether on the left-hand side of that tree, and it's going to help you counteract that lean a little bit. Forward, away, no problem. Left to right, a little less comfortable, but you can still make it work.
And biggest thing is, like, if you're not comfortable, adjust where your tether is, height wise, left, right of the tree. Like, it blows my mind how much of a difference moving your tether a couple inches can allow you to be very comfortable for the next couple hours.
I mean, 2 inches makes a big difference, right, Jared?
That's what Taylor tells me. All right. So weight, there's a lot of questions in around weight. What does an average system weigh? And let's call that system like your fully loaded system.
Oof. Oh,
And not including sticks. We're just talking saddle here. I think most sticks say, hey, they're 1 pound each, and people can do that math.
yeah. So, and let's not,
Hopefully.
well, and let's not include things like your grunt calls and your binos. Let's just stick to straight, like, so as a general rule, like the Mantis saddle that we sell, our very first saddle was 15 ounces. So you got 1 pound in your saddle. The carnivore saddle is going to be like 2.5 pounds. It's got a lot more adjustability, a lot more comfort, a little bit heavier. So you sacrifice just a little bit of weight for that. Now in your ropes, you're going to have another pound or so because you got to carry 2 ropes. So you're going to have, let's call it, just for easy math, 2 pounds in your saddle, 2 pounds in your ropes. You're going to have about 3 to 5 pounds in your platform, depending on how big and what material. Like if it's steel, it's going to be heavier. If it's carbon fiber, like we sell, it's going to be lighter. So you're going to be anywhere between, not including sticks, your platform, your saddle, and your ropes, anywhere from, call it 5 to 8 pounds ish, maybe up to 9 pounds, depending on your choices. But sub 10 pounds, and you can hunt any tree that you can safely climb.
Fully agreed. All right. Sounds like there's a couple gals in here. You know, they're petite, 5 feet under. I personally got my girlfriend into saddle hunting 3 years ago. She loves it. She's like 5'3". What are your guys' recommendations for somebody that's small body frame?
The saddle doesn't judge, big or small, come one, come all, right? It's I had my 7-year-old daughter the other day up in a saddle in our backyard, swinging around. The our Freedom Bridge adjusts down to like 20,
Like 22 inches
like,
waist, I think. Yeah, it's
way
tiny.
way smaller than my thigh is. So and it goes out to, I don't even know, humongous. It's like 48
40,
inches.
40, yeah, it's like 42 inches,
So I
44
mean,
inches.
it really, regardless of your body size and type, it will fit anyone and everyone.
And I will add to that, let's say you are, since it was a female that asked the question, smaller female, or smaller dude even. I'm not a huge dude. I'm only 5'6", 160 pounds. Like, I'm not a big guy either. And I think that one of the benefits being so ultra light, like you're talking 7, 8, 9 pounds compared to a 22-pound climber. I mean, like, come on. So the women that buy Tethrd gear, they love our gear because it's so lightweight. You wear it in around your hips, so you don't even really know that your saddle's on. It's just really lightweight system. Women, like Taylor said, the saddle doesn't judge. Women, they buy our gear like crazy and they love it.
All right, I'll answer this one quick. Safety standpoint, do you recommend any additional pieces like a lifeline? That is the beauty of a saddle. You have your linesman's belt that you put around the tree as soon as you start climbing, and then you have your tether that you hang up as soon as you get to the top of your sticks. And at that point, as Greg said, you're double connected. it is the most foolproof, fail-safe safety system that you can go up a tree with.
I will add to that lifeline. If you have like a preset tree, like if you're hunting on the back 40 or whatever, and you've got a ladder already there, or your climbing sticks already there, lifeline's a great idea because then you can connect on the ground and go all the way up. Can you use a lifeline? Absolutely. But Jared is right. You don't need it. You can still be safe without a lifeline.
Bridge spreader. So there's been just like questions asked, dive into bridge spreaders. That one's over my saddle knowledge.
I use a bridge spreader. The one I use is made by Austin over at Genesis 3D, and it's like a tent pole. So you break it in half, and then it kind of bungees back together. And what it does, one of the downsides that some people experience with saddle hunting comfort is that it can pinch your hips. Depending on your body makeup, how big your hips are, how narrow they are, where you set up your gear. Some people experience hip pinch, and the spreader bar, or the hip pinch eliminator, is what Austin calls it over at Genesis 3D. You take this little device, it's about yay wide, and you put it in between the bridge on your saddle, and it just keeps your saddle from like really constricting, because it can't go any more narrow than about yay big. It's a great system. I carry one on every single hunt. I don't use it on every single hunt, but I always have it in my pocket, in my gear storage, so I can use it when I need it. It's a great tool. Tethrd doesn't make one, but there's lots of companies out there that do, and you can pick one up. They're pretty inexpensive, and it makes you way more comfortable if you struggle with it.
And it's funny, we talk about the versatility. Greg uses one of those on every hunt. I tried one time, it did nothing for me. So to each their own, your mileage will vary. I guess my hips are just so wide that it already spreads the bridge, and it can't get any wider. So.
All right, Taylor, this one's for you because I know you and I have talked about some real custom things you've done here. Making all your stuff quieter, whether that's one sticks or your carabiner with the Kong or the Ascender. Like, what are some of your tips to keep things nice and hush hush?
Stealth strips. I stealth strip everything, anything. I'm a freak when it comes to sound, so I literally wrap everything up, and then I'm very critical of my gear in the woods. So when I'm hunting, if anything does make noise, I try to figure out why it made noise, what clinked where, and then I stealth strip it. So stealth strips, and then kind of knowing where to put your gear and how to use it eliminates all noise in the woods. So, I mean, I'm to the point where I'm completely silent other than heavy breathing climbing up the tree.
Love it. Here's a good question. Do you guys how often do you suggest replacement? Is it like every 5 years with most soft good safety items, or what's your recommendation there?
So let me answer this in a very official way. So there is a standard that governs all safety hunting equipment. If you're an arborist, if you're a rock climber, if you work on repairing cell towers and you require safety harness type equipment to hang from hunting height, there's an organization called the ASTM, and they write safety standards that all of those products are held underneath. And they place a 5-year lifespan on safety equipment. So the lawyer answer is you should replace any safety related item after 5 years. That is what the lawyers and the safety standard people say. So I will say that answer. I have equipment in my garage personally from Greg that is much older than that I feel comfortable with personally, but I would not recommend anything outside of what the lawyers and the safety standard people say. So 5 years is what the answer is.
Yeah, I've had my saddle for more than 5 years, just so you guys know. Jack, if you don't mind, let's throw the giveaway link in there, and Taylor and Greg throw out some gear that you guys are gonna give away here just real quick, and Jack and I will make good on that with you guys tomorrow.
Let's give away like 4 or 5 workhorse setups and a few carnivore setups and one stick. Let's give away like a couple $1,000s worth of gear. Let's do it.
Couple few amazing goodies. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Go full.
How specific do you want us to be in that, Jared? We
That's
can be as
great. That's
specific as
great.
you like.
You've got the people going with what they want. So the giveaway link is in the chat, everyone. That will be open until midnight tonight. So click on it, fill it out right now, ignore the next question we answer, and fill that out. That way you have a chance to win one of those workhorse saddles, a brand new carnivore. Honestly, their one sticks are, the eighth wonder of the world. There is no better climbing stick out there, in my opinion. So we'll be making good on those giveaways tomorrow. So fill out that link. Jack will post it a couple more times here in the next 10 minutes as we wrap up with just a few more questions. So
And we'll make like at least 10 of you guys. We'll get you totally set up from the ground to hunting height. You'll be good.
hell yeah, I absolutely love it. Here's a good question because I've had this happen before in a past time, not with tethered sticks. Any hints to prevent the bottom of a climbing stick from kicking out as you climb? This past weekend, the workhorse climbing sticks, I had them kicking out at the bottom and it made difficult climbing down after my hunt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no bueno. I'm sorry about that. I hate that happened to you. It was let's see here. I don't want to blame the hunter. Okay. I'm not blaming you, but I would say let's go back and let's look at the instructions and let's make sure that it was set properly in the Dynalite lock system that we.
He said it wasn't a tethered stick.
Oh, I thought you said it was a workhorse stick.
No.
Oh, I misheard that. Well, then if it wasn't a
Those don't
tethered
kick
stick, it
out.
makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it kicked out. It wasn't tethered. That's the only answer to that question. Just go buy
But do
tethered.
talk about your latching system because it rocks.
Yeah, so we patented and we engineered and patented in my opinion, and I think Jared would agree, the best climbing stick attachment method on the planet. There's no buckles. It weighs nothing. There's no noise. It's simple. There's no knots. There's nothing crazy. You wrap it around, lock it off. It's done. It takes like 5 seconds to install a climbing stick, and that's on our most budget friendly climbing stick, all the way up to what Jared loves, the one stick, which is the world's first ever 1 pound climbing stick. And we put that on all of our gear, no matter what you pay for it. We put the best climbing attachment method, the Dynalock system, our patented system. We put it on all of them. It's the best. It's the easiest. It's the lightest. It's the quietest. Pretty much there's no downsides.
100%.
Love it. All right. So you two personally, obviously nobody wants to make 4 trips up and down the tree to hang their 4 sticks and their platform. How are you guys getting up in one go?
So I use 4 one sticks. I have done a lot of one sticking, but it became a problem when I had a camera guy with me in the woods. So while we're, filming content or trying to be educational with our stuff, so I'll take 4 one sticks. I'll hang my first one on the tree at about, head height, a little above it. I have a 3-step aider on that. I'll put 3 on my left hip. I run them on my left hip because I am right-handed and I have my my Ropeman Ascender for my lineman's belt on my right side, so that way there's no chance that.
How are you attaching those sticks to your hip?
So I have a little plastic clip that I made that I attach it to. Our rad system that we now have works fantastic for that as well, to clip to clip the top stick onto. And then we have a system where our sticks stack together and they will all nest together where you can pop one off at a time. So then I just climb up, pop one down, hang it, and just go up all in one shoot. So I will have attached, I left this part out, I apologize. I will have attached my bow to a pull-up rope that's on my backpack. So as I'm climbing, that rope is slowly pulling out because I tie it in a certain way that allows it to feed itself out. And tie in, clip up, pull my bow up, and I'm hunting.
Yeah, and I do a very similar method. So I use 4 one sticks as well, like Taylor does, and I use a aider system, a multi-step aider. So I'm short. I'm only 5'6", so I need a little extra height. Unlike Taylor, who's like 6'11", and he can climb way high. So I put my first stick on the ground, and I loop my rope for the second stick up over the top of the first stick, and I set that on the ground. So first 2 sticks are more or less on the ground. I don't have to carry them. Then I hook one stick on my right hip using a method similar to Taylor's. And then I hook my 4th stick on my other hip so they're not clanging together and they're easy to get to. And I climb up. I can climb a tree in the dark and do it very quietly in about 15 minutes to hunting height, which is I'm calling 20 foot. I might be 18, I might be 21, but around 20 foot takes me about 15 minutes. That's going slow. That's being very quiet, and it's not making noise. And if I have to cut branches or something, maybe 18 minutes. But a typical tree for me is about 15 minutes from ground to hunting height.
Yeah, I feel like very often we get asked, how fast can you climb a tree? It's like, well, if I wanted to be, if noise wasn't a concern, I could be up at hunting height in 3 minutes, right? I mean, you can be very fast, but when you're trying to go slow, be as silent as possible, and also not get all sweated up, if you're hunting in cooler weather, the worst thing you can do is rush up the tree and start sweating to where, now that sweat will do what it's intended to do and make your body cool off. So, by going slow, it's no more than 15 minutes being absolutely silent and very intentional in every step that you're taking. And it's also funny when people ask, like, hey, how fast can you get up a tree? It's like, well, dude, you're going to sit there for 5 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours. Why are you rushing it?
Yeah.
Like, it's the last time you're going to get to really move a lot for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever hours. Like, let's take our time.
It's like the old Boy Scout mantra: slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Don't get in a hurry. It's not worth being unsafe.
Correct.
Take your time. If you can't, leave 15 minutes earlier. Get up in the tree.
And at the end of the day, like everyone, these two guys have ascended probably 3,000 trees combined between them. If you're getting up in 30 minutes, you're doing just fine.
It's
You're
fine.
doing-
Just fine.
It's not a
And
race. Yeah.
the way that I climb, I actually have my saddle here with me, and I just tie paracord to one of the loops on each side of my saddle, and I hang my first stick, and then I tie my next stick about 3 feet down the paracord, the next stick 3 feet below that, the next stick 3 feet below that. So I just slowly pull up my paracord to hang my next stick, and then my platform's at the bottom. And it's one climb up, and yeah, I got to pull my paracord up, and is there sometimes a little bit of a ting tang when the old climbing stick hits the tree? Yeah, but that's all right. The deer don't mind sometimes.
Yeah, and it goes back. It's a great point, Jared. As long as you have a system and you've practiced it, like, you're going to be fine. It is a little. It goes back to that second slide. Was what are the challenges? Is there a learning curve? There is, but if you just trust me, I'm a trustworthy guy. Just trust me. Practice for 15 minutes in your backyard. You'll be a pro.
Well, and the fact that there are 3 experienced hunters here talking about saddles, all 3 of us have a different system.
Yeah.
Right. And it's what works for us. And that is, I think, at its core, one of the most important aspects of saddle hunting.
Yep, totally agree. All right, last one here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. You guys get one accessory from Tethrd. We're not talking ropes, we're not talking pockets. I'll go first, and I'll pull it out here. It is the Tethrd HYS strap. I'll let Taylor let folks know what that stands for. But it is, you know what? I'll just let you know. It's a hang your shit strap. It's a strap that goes around the tree. Mine's a little bit of a mess here, but I hang my bow from it. I always have like this little rubber twisty tie that I usually hang my Nalgene from. And then I have a bunch of little carabiners with little ropes attached to them that I hang all sorts of stuff, an extra layer, a camera sometimes. So, I mean, the HYS strap for whatever it is, $20, $24, unbelievably awesome. It beats screwing in a bow holder to your tree exponentially.
Agreed.
That was going to be mine, the Hangyo stuff.
Yeah.
And it is the best. I mean, and when you partner that with our quick draw accessories, so the quick draw is a little attachment that goes on your bow where it just slides and drops right into the his strap. nothing better.
Yep.
Sliced butter.
The other accessory that I would call out for you guys on your ropes, they work. Our ropes work on basically all climbing ropes work on a Prusik system. I recommend replacing that Prusik system with a device called the Ropeman, and what that does is allow one-handed adjustment while you're in the tree, and more importantly, when you're using your lineman belt, if you've got one, Jared, on your rope, you could hold it up and show it, but you can replace your Prusik knot with that little orange device right there called a Ropeman, and take my word for it, it will make climbing and comfort way easier. So the only downside is they're not cheap.
Nope.
They're like $50. And so that's not awesome. That's actually a product we don't make. It's one of the few products in the Tethrd website that we don't manufacture.
I'm going to chime in here. It's $50, but it is what is holding you from falling to the ground. And it makes adjusting so simple with one hand. That would be my second best accessory without a doubt.
I agree. It's worth it. It's worth the $50. You know, cut out Starbucks for like 2 days now. What they charge at Starbucks now. I went in there in the airport the other day. It was like $6 for a cup of coffee. I about lost my crap. Anyway, cut Starbucks out for 2 days and you can get yourself a Ropeman.
I love it. Well, you guys saw Greg was nice enough to flash his email. I'll read it out loud for you. It's simply greg@tethrd.com. So if you have questions, shoot him a note. Shoot me a note, jared.larsen, Jared, .larsen at onxmaps.com. Love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Jack and I are going to pick a bunch of winners to make real happy with some Tethrd gear tomorrow. We'll shoot that note out. And yeah, Taylor, Greg, super appreciate your time and knowledge. And best of luck to everyone in the woods.
Yeah, I hope that last bullet point in that slide didn't get overlooked by all you guys. And what it said was, if you have any good onX pins to big bucks, I live in Tennessee. If you send me pins, I will make it up to you. I will make it worth your while.
Please garhole this guy.
Send me good pins.
We'll trade pins for saddle gear is what I hear.
There
I'm
we
in.
go.
All right. Appreciate it, fellas. Thanks, everyone. Good luck this fall.
See ya.